Hello and welcome back to my world of stuff. There are currently 2 films on general release that deal with the themes of the multiverse. We've got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and we have Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. But which is better? So you want me to find out? Hello, I'm back with a new video. Apologies for the delay in uploading anything recently. I know I said a little while back there was going to be less stuff, but I sort of had a couple of things I intended to get up. But it's been a busy 10 days or so. I've had a few days filming. Just a couple of things that have kept me away from doing a few videos I planned to do. You will see that the face fuzz has now gone completely. So I'm quite pleased to have got shot of that at last. I was hanging on to it for possibility of needing some of it for filming. In the end, most of it came off, and I've just taken the last bit off tonight. So anyway, welcome back. This is my world of stuff, where I discuss films, TV, books, anything takes my fancy. So I'm doing a review this evening of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. This is an interesting film because this is a real word of mouth sort of sleeper hit. It came out in America 6 weeks or so ago, and the trailer came out a while back, and it looked pretty crazy, frankly. It stars Michelle Yeoh, and it seemed to be a riff on the multiverse idea that we've seen building up in Marvel over the past few months. Things like Loki and, of course, the new Doctor Strange film, exploring that idea of other universes which are a bit like ours, but slightly different. Sort of almost like a parallel Earth type thing, really, is the way I sort of look at the multiverse. So anyway, this film arrived and has sort of been gathering steam at the American box office. It's doing what films don't tend to do in America. It's come out and it's building week by week, word of mouth. People are coming to it. First couple of weeks, it looked as if it had flopped. Now it's heading towards fairly healthy profit territory. And it's nice to see that, because we tend to see in America films explode in the first week and then start steadily dropping. It's very rare to get a film that sort of gathers momentum. So I was interested in seeing this. I do like Michelle Yeoh. I was intrigued by the buzz that this film had. So many people saying it was the film of the year. This was going to be the high benchmark, despite all the stuff that's coming out. This was the one that people said is the one to beat. I've seen it now, saw it last night, and I'm not sure. I have to say it left me a little bit cold. Maybe the expectations were built up so high from different reviewers and different things I've read and heard about the film. Maybe I expected too much, but it didn't affect me in the way it affected a lot of people. Now, the first point to make is that it's obviously, technically, it's a masterpiece. The effects, the pace of it, the music, the acting is superb. The idea is very clever. But I just didn't find that it sort of grabbed me on an core emotional level. I ended up sort of watching it to finish it rather than watching it and enjoying it. Now, it's directed by Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, who are together known as Daniels. Stars Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn Wang, with Kei Hu Wan, better known as Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He plays her slightly weedy husband, Waymond. Her daughter, Stephanie Sue, plays Joy, who's got her own sort of issues that she's trying to deal with and trying to get her family to come to terms with. The family run a laundrette business in Los Angeles. I think it was Los Angeles anyway. It's not exactly a struggling business, but the family are having trouble keeping control of their tax affairs, and they're in a bit of a mess with the IRS in the shape of An extraordinary performance from Jamie Lee Curtis as Deirdre Beaubydra, who is the sort of chief tax officer who's investigating their affairs. And she's come to the end of her tether with them. Their tax documents are all over the place. There's no sense of them being in control of the business. And she's sort of about to action the lien which the bank has, which the tax office have on the property, and close them down. This is interesting. It's an interesting first 20 minutes because it is human stuff. It's these characters. Evelyn's sort of trying to look after her ailing grandfather. Her daughter is gay, and Evelyn's trying to come to terms with that and trying to approach the way the family deals with it, because obviously the Chinese culture is, rather different to Western culture, where these things aren't quite so accepted. And I found all that quite interesting. Her trying to keep control of the business while trying to keep control of her family, which is falling apart. And I thought, well, this is quite interesting. And I thought it'll be quite interesting to see how the weird multiverse stuff comes in. Unfortunately for me, that's where the film sort of lost it in a way. Because there's so much going on. It is bonkers. It's completely batshit crazy, the stuff that happens in it. And I think for anybody who thinks that the multiverse stuff in Marvel is a bit of a head scratcher, this is going to blow their minds, because it's presented in such a fast-paced, frenetic way with, very little in the way of exposition. It's just the idea that there's a multiverse and different versions, and people can jump back and forth via these pads. It's all madcap and it's all crazy. And I just found it becoming, as it went along, I found it distancing myself from it. I found it harder and harder to connect with it on a human level, if you like, because it became so bizarre. I mean, they travel to different multiverses where people are slightly different, where characters have hot dog fingers. Another one where a chef has a raccoon on his head. And it's all so fast and it's all so frenetic. It was like sort of falling off a cliff and trying to hang on to something on the way down, trying to find some purchase that you feel safe and I'm secure here, I know what's going on. But I just felt a bit like a roller coaster. It was wildly out of control, and I didn't feel as if I was connecting with it, if you like. Which is a shame, because the performances are terrific. I mean, on a technical level, as I say, you can't fault the way it's been made. The effects are great. There are some really powerful fight sequences. Although, for Kung Fu fans, there's not a lot in the way of straightforward martial arts stuff, because it's all quite quirky, off-the-wall fight scenes using bizarre implements and weapons rather than a lot of hand-to-hand combat. There's just some bizarre imagery that sort of hits you off the screen. You think, what's happening now? And I think that was my main problem. Maybe it was me. I just couldn't really follow it, to be honest. And by about an hour or so, I was just hanging on, waiting to get to the end. It's split into 3 chapters. There's Everything, which introduces the concept, and Everywhere, which introduces the multiverse. And then All at Once, which is a little coda at the end, which was actually rather sweet, because despite everything that had happened with the family and the different versions of them and the different travails that they go through, the family does come together, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel at the end of it. But I'm not going to call it a bad film. That would be crazy. But it isn't. It's not my sort of genre film, if you like. I mean, much as a lot of the critics have said, well, this explores the multiverse far more thoroughly and with more imagination than Doctor Strange. Yeah, but Doctor Strange does it in a way that it needs to for its particular story. We drift through various multiverses, and I accept that it's done quite quickly, one particular scene, but it picks bits and pieces and things that it needs from the multiverse to tell that story. This is like, wham, in your face, and you've really got to hang on for grim death, if you want to make sense of it. And I think in the end I didn't really make a lot of sense of it. I was impressed by the visuals. It's not a boring film to look at, because there's so much going on, but so much of it is so bizarre and so weird and so over the top that it's hard for me to connect with it on the level that I like to connect with characters in films, because it just seems so extreme. And the multiverse stuff is just so extraordinary and over the top that I found it a bit distancing. So, yeah, a disappointment for me in that I didn't love it the way I wanted to, because when people make a fuss about these things. It's a phenomenon and it's one of the best films ever made and the best film of the year. I like to understand why people think that. I like to be on board with that. I like to think, yeah, terrific film. I didn't feel that with this. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why people are saying it. I'm not quite sure whether people think it's a great film or a great experience, and there is a difference. But all in all, it's, I'm not going to slate it. It's just not my cup of sort of fantasy movie, if you like. So the answer to the question I posed at the beginning, which is best for me, it's Doctor Strange every time. Preferred Multiverse. And I hope you've enjoyed this little vid. It's nice to be back. There will probably be, I know there's been a lot of Doctor Who stuff happening in the last week or so. My last video, incidentally, the thoughts on the new Doctor, was remarkably popular by my standards. And it's odd, even though I'm not updating a lot, it's gained me quite a few new subscribers. And as I've said before, I know that Doctor Who content can do that, but I don't want to take that route of constantly churning out Doctor Who stuff, because that's not what this channel is supposed to be about. But I will be doing a video later in the week about what's happening in Doctor, because a lot has happened since I did the last video with the return of certain characters and introduction of new characters. There's a lot happening in Doctor Who at the moment. So I'll do some thoughts on that. And of course, we've got Top Gun Maverick coming out next week. I think I'm down to see that on Thursday. So I will do a review. Again, it's odd because that and another film which has had extraordinary reviews. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing if that is as good as I'm expecting it to be. If you look back on this channel, you'll see my retro movie review of the original, which I'd never seen until a few months ago. So I am looking forward to seeing how the new one picks up the baton and runs with it. So anyway, that's me on Everything Everywhere All at Once. I haven't rated it, have I? My rating for Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to be, I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. Because I admire it rather than fell in love with it, if you like. It's not it's not one of those films you say, oh, you didn't like that. It didn't always work with me. There were bits which are like, wow. And as I said, I did like the beginning. I like the end. I liked some of the stuff in the middle, but it did lose me, I'm afraid, in places. And it's too long. Right. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you wish to, you can like and subscribe. As I've said, there's not going to be stuff every week, every few days, as there has been in the past. But there might be a rush of things every now and again when there's stuff, but then there might be a couple of weeks when there's nothing. So if you want to subscribe and keep up when there is stuff, it'd be lovely to have you along for the ride. Right, thank you very much for watching this vid. Like, subscribe, etc., etc. Until I see you next time, hey, keep taking the stuff.